So we're really excited for today's program, our panel and our awards. The program itself is going to last 1 hour, and then there will be optional networking from 1 to 1:30 p.m. if you'd like to stick around. We want this to be an interactive forum, but as I mentioned before, we are going to keep everyone on mute except for the speakers. So please actively use the chat with questions, comments, concerns. We love when people connect on the chat through ideas and relationships. Also, we suggest that you go up and you select the side-by-side speaker view in order to get the best view today. And now I would like to turn our program over to our board chair, John Murphy. John.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. First thing I want to do is to thank everybody who's here. It looks like on Zoom, 65 participants. So all of you, thank you very much for coming and joining our meeting today. I want to also thank our staff who's done a great job over the last year of holding everything together in really trying times. Things seem to be brighter on the horizon and I'm excited about it. I went to Bob and Edith's diner this morning and there was a big sign on the door saying, masks optional. Like, yay, we're gonna come back to life. So the staff though has done a great job. Stephen, Amanda, Lucero, and Amy. And to top it off with the great job that Kim's done in the last year. Just to let you guys know that I really appreciate it and the board really appreciates everything that you do. So that's it for my remarks. Thanks everybody, and let's get on with the program.
Excellent. Thank you so much, John. Really appreciate it. And our board has been terrific. We could not have done it without them, as well as our Community Advisory Council. So big thanks to all. Speaking of thanks, I want to thank our sponsors. Again, you guys give us the funding and the support to do what we do and do what we do best. I want to thank our gold sponsors, BM Smith, the Burka family, the ELLIOTT at Fillmore Center, KCM, Walsh, Colucci, Lovely, and Walsh, and Washington Workplace. Please, if you see them, thank our gold sponsors. And now to our silver sponsors, the Arlington Community Federal Credit Union, APA, Bean, Kinney, and Corman, E.G. Reinsch, Donahoe, JMI, Walter Phillips, S.L. Nussbaum, KGD, Virginia Hospital Center, Pentagon MMA, and Sanina Properties. Thank you so much to our silver sponsors. And finally, our bronze sponsors, 2121 Columbia Pike, 2200, 2300 9th Street, Bound Train, Fillmore Garden Apartments, Insight Property Group, Marion, MMA and Sports Rehab, who just recently won an award, and Penrose Square. Thank you so much to our bronze sponsors. Oh, sorry, I'm a slide behind. I just got a note. Thank you so much to our bronze sponsors. And now Columbia Pike. Many of you have seen this slide before, but some of you haven't. We are 3.5 miles. We start at the Carlin Spring line all the way up to the Air Force Memorial. We are the world in a zip code. We have mixed income housing. We have blended residences, businesses, shops, and ethnic restaurants. And we are Arlington's oldest and newest Main Street. CPRO was established in 1986. So for those of you doing the math, we will turn 35 years old this year. We will be having our anniversary celebration, which I'll tell you more about later. And in our strategic plan, we continue to confirm our role to really be that handshake between the businesses, the community, the county, and our partnerships to keep Columbia Pike such a vibrant and diverse place. It's great to do a lot of things, but it's better to have impact. And this year, although it has been especially challenging for Columbia Pike, we have been able to create some silver linings and really to build some relationships and have that impact within our community. We have raised over $65,000 this past year. That money went directly to restaurants who then produced lunches for our frontline healthcare workers at Virginia Hospital Center, Mary Marshall Assisted Living, Arlington Pediatric Center, and Arlington Free Clinic. We also stood up our Feed Our Families program, which raised over $120,000 and delivered over 5,000 boxes of produce to residents at APA, at AHC, and other properties. We also began our publication of Bulletin de Columbia Pike on a monthly basis. We also welcome the Black Heritage Museum of Arlington into CPRO's physical space, and we joined the NAACP Economic Development Committee. Again, impact. Because of your support, we were able to help our businesses through COVID, and we have stood up now 15 new businesses during COVID on Columbia Pike. And I really encourage you to take a look at these logos and to visit all of these businesses. Through all this, we are continually trying to find a balance between development and economic growth, community, culture and diversity, and transit, and trying to find that happy middle ground where we continue to celebrate what makes Columbia Pike special. Arlington Arts and Lloyd Wolf, his Living Diversity program, really help to continue to make Columbia Pike special. Through all of the public art and the events and the documentaries, we truly do live and work in a very special place. So speaking of a special place, I do want to introduce you to Nina CHAWLA. Her family and her own the BARCROFT shopping mall. She has a Master of Science in Real Estate Development, and she is really well versed in Columbia Pike's form-based code and supportive of Columbia Pike's small service-based businesses. So before we start our panel, to set a little bit of context, it is my distinct pleasure to introduce Nina CHAWLA. Nina.
Hi, thanks, Kim. Thank you. So about BARCROFT, we own BARCROFT Shopping Mall, which is located in the BARCROFT neighborhood on the west end of Columbia Pike. We bought it in about 1986, and it's about 24,000 square feet. And it's comprised of a very diverse group of tenants, including a large laundromat, a Pizza Hut, and different types of grocery stores and convenience stores. The tenants at our shopping center truly meet the needs of the community located in this part of Columbia Pike. They are primarily service-based tenants, and they provide the services that are needed by those that live in the area. Our tenants also meet the diversity needs of the community in that they provide services in different languages, such as our accounting and tax preparation services. They provide services in Spanish, and this makes it very appealing and convenient for those in that part of the Pike, for those that don't speak a lot of English in that area. Our tenants also consist of a unique array of ethnically diverse restaurants and grocery stores, such as we have a Salvadorian restaurant, we have an Ethiopian grocery store, and this also meets the needs of those in the community as well. This diversity at our center has really allowed our shopping center to thrive and do very well. Our family business has more of a non-traditional landlord-tenant relationship where we carry somewhat of a different philosophy than many, and then that is that we as owners and our tenants, we are truly partners with one another. And we do our best as landlords to help our tenants succeed as much as they can every day, and that really is a beneficial situation for everyone.
Alex Pete or Alex Pete 1.
Sorry, okay. During COVID, we supported our tenants immensely. We gave them whatever support they needed. We provided rent abatement to our tenants that needed it. We waived their annual rental escalations. We helped them with signage and other methods to help them promote their businesses. There is also a very supportive community between our tenants and their customers. And our tenants would give their regular customers that needed it discounts during the pandemic, which really did help their customers. Some of our tenants, such as our dollar store, they were able to get access to supplies during the pandemic that the community desperately needed and that were very hard to find at that time, like paper towels and hand soap, which allowed our tenants' businesses to do very well as well. Our pizza place had nonstop deliveries, and our various restaurants started curbside pickup and carry out, which caused them to increase their businesses significantly. Many of our tenants absolutely thrived during the pandemic, in fact. And while we continuously offered relief to them, very few of them actually used it. You can see from the slide here, our shopping center, and it is a bit run down and it will need to be redeveloped. And we are planning on doing that within the next 5 years. And then if you want to go to the next slide, Kim. Thanks. So you can see this is a very preliminary drawing of a possible redevelopment, but as stated before, we have a great partnership with our tenants and we plan on pulling them all into our newly redeveloped center. They meet the existing needs of the community. And while the Pike is indeed changing, we strongly believe the community in this area will still need the services of our current tenants. And we know when we redevelop, our tenants' businesses will be affected as their livelihood depends on staying here. So we would like to subsidize our tenants in some format during the development period. And we would like to be super efficient in the redevelopment process, especially by cutting down our construction time so our tenants' downtime from business is immensely reduced. We plan on redeveloping our shopping center, but during that time, we want to do everything we can do to make sure our tenants' businesses are minimally impacted. So thank you. And I am going to be introducing our next speaker, David PEETE. He is another family-run business property owner, and he is the partner and president of BM Smith. They are the owners of Penrose Square and other legacy new development on Columbia Pike and the surrounding area. And they have been a partner with the Pike and the county for many decades. And David PEETE was also the recipient of the Columbia Pike Spirit Award last year. So David.
Thank you, Nina. We have an exciting presentation this afternoon. We're going to hear from 4 outstanding individuals who represent economic and development along the Pike. As Kim shared with us earlier, we're always looking to find a balance. And this particular presentation will probably be weighted to one of those legs in the balance stool. And we're first going to hear from Bill Benston and then Eric Burka, Stacy Hornstein, and then Michael Klein. To begin with, Bill has purchased some property that was first developed in the early 40s and over on Greenbrier, and he's going to share his story. And Bill, what we like to do as we key you up is to talk a little bit about the value that that property originally built to Columbia Pike, and then also with your renovation and development, the value it'll bring to the future. And that's going to be a theme throughout. Each of these individuals represent properties that are already have been in place in the Pike, several of them since the 40s, and one of them since the late 60s. Those properties really built a vibrancy initially to Columbia Pike, and with their renovation, they're going to continue with that. So Bill, the past and the future, and then also if there is affordable housing on your site, how that plays into the future as well, or any other assets you might bring. So with Bill, we turn it over to you.
Thank you, David, and thank you, Kim, for all your hard work. We purchased the property about 3 years ago, 7.5 acres, comprising 179 existing, I guess they call them market rate affordable units. As David said, they were built in the 40s. Some historians suggest it might even gone back earlier than that, but I think culminating in 49. And the rents that we found in the historical documents said they rented for less than $100 a month. So fathom that. We are in, I guess, what I affectionately call West Pike. We're in the form-based code, neighborhoods form-based code. And we have just received approval for 400 units, phase one, which is on about 4 acres of the 5 acres southern piece. We would be replacing 90 of the currently market affordable units, where the rents range from $1,200 to $1,400. We'll be replacing them with 93 ADUs. And our timing, we're anticipating beginning sometime around the beginning of next year. And depending on a number of circumstances, but that's our best estimate at this point. The second phase is on this chart to the right and kind of grayed out, and it is actually on Columbia Pike. And it's what I call a 10-story overlay of an overlay. And we have had a significant amount of interest. This kind of dovetails into David's question about affordable housing. I've had a lot of interest from senior groups, and the neighborhood's form-based code, as much as it is an excellent roadmap to orderly development and a great communication between developer and staff, in this particular case, there's a gap, and affordable housing has not been able to be tied to senior housing. And it's rendered me, I'm stymied in being able to pursue any of those opportunities. I even had a thought about incorporating a veteran's circumstance, and so but I can't do anything until I resolve the neighborhood's form-based code in that regard, and working with our more than able entitlement team and the county to try to figure that out. Phase 3 is not pictured in any of our slides, but it's about 500 yards to the north, also on Greenbrier, and that too comes under neighborhoods form-based code, but we've got enough to digest here right now. We're trying to figure what our next step is for that site, but that comprises what would theoretically be mathematically under the neighborhoods form-based code between 900 and 1,100 new units. As I mentioned, my very able entitlement team and Walter Phillips, Walsh Colucci, and KGD have done an excellent job navigating the system for us. I think that slide that David just put up is the front elevation on Greenbrier for the first 400 units. Over to you, David.
Okay, thank you so much, Bill. We ask everyone in the audience who may have some questions of Bill to just hold on to them for a few minutes as we go through all the presenters, and then we'll ask some questions collectively. Next, it's my honor to introduce Eric Burka of the Burka family. They developed Fillmore Gardens and Fillmore Shopping Center back in the early 40s, and you can see a great photo of it back in the day. They own, as I said, Fillmore Garden Apartments. They're 500 market rate affordable apartments today. It's right off Walter Reed. And on Columbia Pike, they own the Fillmore Center, which has the CVS and several other shops there. It's going to be redefined as the ELLIOTT at Fillmore. Eric, today, again, if you could talk to us, begin with a little bit about the impact that the Fillmore had when it was originally built in the 40s, and then the impact it's going to have on Columbia Pike in the future. And if you have an opportunity to bring in a little bit of the work that you've done with affordable, that would be terrific. And also, I think if there's any stores that will continue at your shop, we loosely call them legacy shops. Eric, with that, we turn it over to you.
Great. Thank you, Dave. appreciate it. And thank you to CPRO so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here. This is something that's sort of near and dear to our family's heart. My father was one of the founding members of CPRO. So he was really involved in everything that had to do with Arlington County. He served 4 terms as president of the Northern Virginia Apartment Association. So really involved with this project. The Burka family and the Banks family developed this property in 1942 and 1943, and really served as a property for affordable housing for people coming from World War II, coming back from the war. And so with that said, I think we're actually at about 560 apartments. It's 23 acres here. And then our parcel, which is Fillmore Center, which is the retail in Columbia Pike, is about 2.5 acres from that standpoint. So it is not actual affordable housing. This is market rate affordable housing. So we've made a commitment to keep this affordable housing, even though we're not the status is not affordable housing and we don't receive any tax breaks for being affordable from that standpoint. With that said, the idea is in the past 4 years, the ownership, which there are actually, I think, like 43 partners in this project right now, because I'm the 3rd generation of the family to be involved with this. And this photo actually here from the paper, my cousin Sharon, who should be listening in today, provided this. She found this in some of the files from her parents' archives. So I was really excited to scan this in and show everybody. It's actually facing southeast with Columbia Pike on the left side of this photo. And we can go on to the next slide. And so here you'll see on the upper left-hand corner, the parcel that is actually Fillmore Center, which is an aging retail center with lots of problems. We had infrastructure problems. We really looked at what we were going to do with the property, and we got really excited about doing something, but we didn't know who to do it with. And we brought in a partner, a joint venture partner, Insight Property Group, which really helped make this happen. This would not have happened without them. They've really helped us and the family members and the owners put this project together and have shepherded it through all the process. It is within form-based code. One of the things that we wanted to do with the design here is really think about how this new building would fit into the Columbia Pike Art Deco theme that's prevalent within this section of Columbia Pike, but a design that also would feel current and stand the test of the time. We don't intend to sell this. Part of our strategy is to hold on to these properties and for generations. So we want to make sure the design and the construction and the building itself is really something that's going to be here for a very, very, very long time, as you can see with our other project from that standpoint. One of the things that we wanted to do here, and you'll see to the right-hand side of it, there is a park that we've donated to the county that'll connect our site and Penrose with a public park, which we're really excited about that happening. And then with that, we are going to have CVS come back into the bottom of the building. So they're the only tenant that actually will be returning. And then we have a grocer that will be taking the rest of the bottom of the building, yet to be announced. So with that, we're really excited about that. The other pieces to talk about that are really important, obviously, is, it's really another anchor piece on Columbia Pike, and we're super excited about how that park, it's going to set itself apart sort of as a community gathering space. We want a place within Columbia Pike where people can hang out, where the community can gather, and we feel like that's a missing piece. So we're really excited about the park that's going to be in between the 2 projects. And that land was actually given to the county to do this. So, and we're participating with our neighbors on that as well. Other things that we're looking at in terms of, really the idea of how we can connect this Columbia Pike and this project to National Landing, we think is really important. And we're, want to push for rapid transit between the 2. We know that we're going to be a part of that project in many ways as an extension. So really figuring out how, with rapid transit, we can get those 2 neighborhoods connected as well. So with that said, I mean, that's pretty much the project. It's about 250 new apartments. The grocer is 38,500 square feet, and the CVS is about 9,500 square feet, and a little bit of storage as well from that standpoint. So just really excited about it, and want to thank everybody that's helped us get to this point.
Thank you, Eric. Again, we'll have an opportunity for questions with Eric shortly after we hear from the next two presenters. Next, it's our honor to introduce Stacy Hornstein. And Stacy is a senior vice president at the Republic family of companies. And it represents the Kramer family, which opened Westmont Shopping Center in the early 40s. We may have a race here, so to speak, on who opened what first, but let's just say that the 40s were very much an active time on Columbia Pike. And Stacy's family has gone on to develop actually sort of a worldwide development company, but one of their core first properties was the Westmont right here in Arlington. And with that, Stacy, tell us a little bit about the property, what it meant to Columbia Pike in its heyday, what it should mean to Columbia Pike in the future, what assets you guys might be bringing you think are special, and also maybe you could touch on the form-based code and how that process went for you. Thank you.
Thank you, David. I appreciate it. And Kim, thank you very much for inviting us to make this presentation for a very special day. Eric is a very tough act to follow. His family and the generations that they've met at Columbia Pike are unquestionably one of the great players. And the Westmont property that is owned by the Kramer family was actually in the same neighborhood in Washington that the Burka family grew up, and they all knew each other. And it was a very exciting time, as I understand, in the 40s, where a lot of new and interesting residential and retail came about as a result of the folks coming home from the war. So we have produced evidence for David that Westmont did open up in December 1940. So we have documented that date. It opened up as a very unique and what we think is the first retail center, which in 1940, they were not called retail or shopping centers, they were called merchandising centers. And Westmont was labeled as a merchandising center. We've been working on the redevelopment of Westmont for 14 years for the family. And the family has a set of companies called the Republic family of companies. It's made up of four groups, one of which is a retail component and land development component. And the company has been pioneered retailing such as Potomac Mills and all of the mills around the country. So we have a long history of retail and its development. We've got office and mixed use projects in Washington, D.C. We just opened up 1331 apartment building in the Portals. The Washington Business Journal just gave us the award as the best mixed use project in 2021 in all of Washington, D.C. The Portals is down in Southwest. It's about 5 million square feet, and you all may be familiar where the Mandarin Hotel is. A little about Westmont. Westmont was a 40,000 square foot shopping center, mostly above grade, but in that period of time, storage was provided as below grade. We are replacing the shopping center with 250 market rate residential products with about 20,000 square feet of retail at its base. So if we look at the rendering, it's on the left side. That's looking from Columbia Pike down Glebe Road to the left, down Columbia Pike to the right. This is, we consider, one of the great intersections in the region, being on two Main Street locations. And we've tried to develop the property very similar to what's happening with the ELLIOTT. This is a family-owned property and it hopes to stay in the family for many generations. So the architectural style really is one that we think is probably of a quality that that is commensurate with a long-term hold. So high grade materials, brick with cementatious accents, we think is a very, very smart building. On the slide to the right, that's the Glebe Road side, and the entrance where that little white car is, that's the residential entrance. So you'll go into that entrance, there's a residential lobby, and then you would go upstairs to the 5 floors above for your residential activities and community. Our timing is we're right around the corner. We're about to see another great change in the face of Columbia Pike. We are starting construction in mid-July. We are closing with our financing as we speak right now. Tenants have been moving on. We're not at liberty to say who we're bringing back, but we've got 3 tenants that have interest in coming back in the property, and we're working with them to make space for them. The construction period is about 24 months. So we will see what we believe in third quarter 2023 is the opening of the new Westmont. In answer to David's questions, the form-based code has been very good in certain respects. One, the rules are pretty specific, probably to the point where too specific. It takes away a little bit of your creativity, or you have to work very hard to be able to try to be creative during the design process because of the rules and regulations. But as developers, it's been helpful to us because we knew what we can do. And a lot of the challenges in development is not knowing what a jurisdiction could or would approve. Here, it was fairly specific for us. So construction has been a little smoother than you would find in most areas. Relative to the role on the Pike, in 1940, the Westmont was built, we understand, for $1,250,000. The new Westmont today is going to cost in excess of $110 million. So it's a big jump from timing. An immediate impact is the current assessment for Westmont is about $14 million and generates $85,000 in tax revenue to the county. So we can see that it'll be quite a jump up. Lastly, who are we marketing to? And we've created a design of the project that's primarily directed to young or working professionals. So we have 80% of our units in this project are 1 bedroom and 1 bedroom dens, and they are really targeted for meeting the needs of the working population. I think between the multimodal station that's under construction right in front of Westmont today on Columbia Pike and the 2 bus stops that we have on Glebe Road that run that north-south corridor, that we think we are a transit-oriented development. And it's just not being next to Metro makes you TOD. We think we're TOD, and we think we've got great access to the Pentagon and to Amazon along those lines. And we're going to try to provide housing for those folks that need it or that are working in those employment centers. David, that concludes my presentation. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Stacy, very much. I'm sure we're going to have some good questions for you after the presentation. Next, we'd like to introduce Michael Klein. And Michael is the managing principal of Bound Train Real Estate. He represents our 1 office building we're going to discuss today, a building that was built in the late 60s. And he has great plans for renovation of that office. He acquired the building from the B.M. Smith family and is moving forward with a renovation development to be ready in that next year or 2. Michael, a couple of questions for you. What do you think this building may have represented back in the late 60s, 1970, when it was first created? what do you think about the impact it will have and what value it will bring to Columbia Pike after your renovations are completed? And also, might there be from form-based code, anything that was interesting from an office building standpoint, if needed or not, since it's a renovation? And also, what might have led you to believe that, you know, there's going to be a good market for office rents in the very near future? We're all looking forward to hearing from you. So Michael, it's all yours.
Thank you. Bound Train is a 3-year-old owner-operator developer based here in Northern Virginia. 2300 9th Street is our first project, our second project, our first in Arlington County. But as principals, we have about 15 years experience in the county. We're really excited about 2300 9th Street. It's the first office project, renovation, new construction to deliver in decades. And now really does feel like the right time. Quick overview, it's an 8-story office building, 67,000 square feet, would be considered Class C in the market today, 1970s vintage. It's over 50 years old. Currently 25% occupied or leased. And for us, to answer, sorry, I can go back one more slide just for another minute. For us, we saw a lot of opportunity with the asset. We liked the structure. We felt there was a lot of ways for us to create value. But yes, from a finishing standpoint, everything was original from 1970. So, for us, that value proposition is if we can deliver a new experience or new construction to office users, but at a Class B or really an unrenovated Class B rent in Arlington County, we feel like that's the value proposition that gives us the best chance for success in the market. So with that, our plan is to reposition as a well-located, modern, creative, multi-tenant office building with the opportunity to take advantage of the walkable amenities and parking our building and the corridor has to offer as an alternative to other submarkets in Northern Virginia. In order to do that, our plan is one, to amenitize the building. It's only 67,000 square feet. So a lot of our focus, which you'll see in a few minutes, really is on the lobby experience and the outdoor space we're creating, but we're still going to add showers, bike racks, and a shared conference room, which is really important amenities for smaller tenants, and really rebrand it to Arlington County users, maybe draw some from Alexandria, given the vicinity, who focus that level of service and quality, who can't pay Class A or new construction rents, which we've all know have gotten quite high in the region. Our budget on the 67,000 square foot asset is $10.3 million. And I'll talk about it in a little bit when we have the pictures up, but includes significant facade improvements, a new storefront on the first 2 levels, our plaza, which is our outdoor space, brand new mechanical system, a new VRF system, which we think was always our plan, but maybe it's become even more important given the pandemic over the last 15 months. And new restrooms. Essentially, we're fully gutting every floor in the building, taking it down to the steel and the concrete and rebuilding. So, true new construction experience. List of community benefits are here. I will say, as a developer, the community, the positivity from the community and the support has really been great, especially this year going through our minor site plan process, and we appreciate it. One benefit I left off here, we are, as my architect likes to remind us, we're considered an embodied carbon project. And one thing in Arlington, there's been so much new construction. There's been a little less focus on renovating and revitalizing older assets. So we're very excited about that. If you jump to the next slide, you'll see just the existing condition. 2300 9th Street, views from various directions. It's 1970s office, brick asset, Columbia Pike, and you can see the picture of the lobby there as well. Just helps set the table for our plans and our renderings. If you go to the next slide, you'll see here first, really focusing on that path of travel is the curb appeal. We ended up taking a very modern approach, so we're using some dark stain, which maybe be reflective of a early 1900s or adaptive reuse project where you're converting maybe an old industrial asset, a warehouse, to residential or office. But we really wanted to bring, we brought in a two-tone look to it. So we're actually kind of blending the light and dark, or really a white light stain with the dark. It gives a very modern feel, significant contrast when you're approaching the building. You know, our hope is some people, first time coming to the building, wow, I didn't know this was here. And certainly if you're a resident living in Penrose, you know, you can drive by it and hopefully nod your head and be like, I really like the look and feel of this, because it is so prominent once you turn off the Pike on Wayne Street or South Adams Street. As part of that experience on the exterior of the asset, we call reskinning or replacing the storefront on the first two floors. They're very important from a streetscape perspective. It's what people notice most when you're walking by the building. And that integrates with our new lobby and our plaza. So we did have to go through a minor site plan amendment for this project. We're converting an old bank drive-through that was in the original site plan in the 1960s to open space. You know, with that, you know, all the exterior improvements you see here were part of that plan, and we did receive our approval with Arlington County in April. So thankful for that. The open space you can see is a plaza, cement to be hardscaped, and we did an integrated design, you know, with our lobby. There's really two approaches with office. One is, you know, traditional. You kind of want people to get in and out of the lobby as fast as possible. This one, given the size of the asset, and we still want to amenitize it, the best thing we had in our toolkit is to consider the lobby an amenity. So it's still a place where you can meet, a place you can gather, and we integrated the design with the plaza. And our hope is the weather is nice enough that 4 to 6 days a year. On the bottom right, you see the lobby on the right there. There's a little bit of an island and some seats. That's a nano wall, so that actually opens up to the outside. And that's something we hope to do regularly. And it gives that open space, you know, hopefully makes it really usable for our office tenant. In terms of the interior, actually one last thing, you see we're punching windows in on the corners of the building. Gets more light into the core, and it creates a true corner office experience, which we find very important in office. These are the exterior improvements. I think the timing question, our goal to start the project this fall. The exterior improvements take significantly longer, you know, than the interior. So this will probably take about 9 to 12 months. Our interior improvements, which is again full gut, you know, rehab, floor by floor, including we're demoing the old restrooms, we're rebuilding them at a different location. We hope to roll out the new lobby, you know, common areas and amenities, as well as our first round of spec suites, first quarter 2022. If you go to the next slide, what I mean by spec suites is, again, we're a smaller office asset for the Arlington market. Our floor plates are small, just under 10,000 square feet. And we do think that at this location, our average tenant size is probably going to be 2,000 to 5,000, probably a little smaller, 2,000 to 4,000 square feet. So we've programmed a floor once demoed. The benefit we have here is we can rebuild what we call spec suites or speculative suites, which means building tenant space without tenants, to offer folks who are out looking in the market, you know, 2 or 3 months before they need space. It can be very modern finishes, you know, brand new restrooms. We're looking to add an amenity on every spec suite floor. We'll have about 300 square feet dedicated to conferencing space, as well as a shared conference room for the building that can accommodate up to 25 to 30 individuals. And if somebody comes in, and we've programmed it, you know, again, trying to capture that target market, low 1,000 to you know, higher here. We also have the flexibility here. We can combine 2 spec suites, and we can do that through design and permitting and close out. If we want to do a larger lease, we can combine 2. And also for tenants, the benefit we offer with this value add business plan is if somebody comes in and they can give us time, say 5 months, we can custom design your space and build out space for you in another floor. Again, it'll still be the new experience, new common areas, new restaurants, to all the amenities. And I think one of the benefits of smaller tenants too, when you do what we call turnkey, which is we'll customize the space in conjunction with our tenant, but we'll build it. We essentially pay for it, try to make it as less time consuming or cumbersome for the tenant as possible. So we think a lot of smaller tenants can actually right size their space, still get, you know, the number of offices and pantry and conferencing they need. But for several tenants, we've done the math, they could actually save money doing that and still get the new experience. So
Michael? Michael, thank you so much. It sounds like a lot of interesting changes going to happen to that building and an opportunity for a wide variety, hopefully inclusive group of potential new tenants. We're going to go to some Q&A and lots of good questions have come in. We only have about 5 to 10 minutes left, so let's get started. The first question was, I'd like one or two of you to speak to what has been the responses from the surrounding neighborhoods, the neighbors themselves. What feedback have you received? And Eric or Stacy, you might begin first with that.
Stacy, I'll let you start.
I'll jump in because I'm a little further down the pike than Eric is, but I'm sure he's had the good experience that we've had. One of the design conditions at the existing Westmont is there's an alley that follows behind the project. In fact, under the form-based code, generally all access into your building has to be off the alley, and that keeps the friction, basically the friction off your front of your building, so that your service. In our case, at Westmont, we had 11 tenants before we started the redevelopment. And that meant that there was 11 dumpsters, 11 storage locations. There was the back of the shopping center. No matter how hard you work at it, it was the back of the shopping center. It was not really attractive. With the redesign, we have moved all the services inside the building. So when a garbage truck comes in, it doesn't pick up in the alley. It comes into the building and it picks up the dumpsters inside the building with the door closed, and thereby being a much better neighbor to our adjacent residents than it is today. And we think that's a big improvement and a really good situation, because we've been here a long time. We've been a neighbor for a long time, but there's just certain things you weren't able to do given the previous design. So we hopefully have taken this opportunity to improve our relationship with our neighbors through design.
Thank you, Stacy. Eric, just a minute.
Yeah, I actually don't have too much to say on this because I'm not very well versed on what we've done, but I think we're not far enough along that we've engaged the community in the neighborhood yet, because we're just figuring out the plans. We're sort of in this pre-development phase.
Okay, no, thank you. A couple other comments have come in, and one expressed, a group of chat questions. It says, I would love all developers, owners, etc., to ask themselves whether the diverse members of the population along the Pike, especially including those who are not native English speakers or not college educated, can see themselves in these buildings or communities. For instance, are there signs provided in multiple languages? Not everyone speaks English. What are you doing potentially to meet the diversity in the community? And that, so let's go with that. Would someone like to speak up, and about a minute for each response? Who would like to start?
I'll jump in. The mathematical of ours is that, as I said, we are removing in phase 1 90 currently affordable units and replacing them with state-of-the-art 93 units with swimming pool and full amenities. And so, at least in my mind, the 90 families that are there now, and these include up to 3-bedroom units, their lifestyle will be enhanced. Yes, there are 300 or so market rate units, but to repeat myself, the 25% of the project gets greatly enhanced in lifestyle.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'll just come in and say, we know that this corridor is the most diverse population in Arlington County. I think there are over 43 different countries represented of people that there's something like that. It was a stat I heard. So we make sure that our management and our team and our staff, we have people and staff that speak many different languages and that can talk to those potential residents. Again, with 560 units that we currently have, we already have a lot of those people living at our property. The question about signage is actually a great one, but that's something to consider.
Yeah, that is, I thought so myself. It's a great suggestion. Michael, we have a question for you came in regarding 2300, and it said, do you have any initial thoughts on the types of businesses that would be especially interested in the space here, based on small, medium businesses in particular that might be in the area?
Yeah, absolutely. We've already received some calls from very small defense contractors in the area. I think a lot of that is proximity to the Pentagon. Historically, this building, and David, you know it well, been very well leased until BRAC hit in 2010. A lot of those were smaller defense contractors. We think some of that will come back there. Professional services, I think, will be a big one. Again, probably smaller private firms, maybe drawing some folks out of shared workspacing, either due to growth or they feel like they're ready for their first office lease, and we have the additional amenities that they can go with it, so they don't have to take more space than they think we need. The professional services, I think, will run the gamut from really maybe small law firms, small architecture firms. Really, it's probably a smaller tenant, maybe with a creative bent, could have a tech bent as well. But historically, the same tenant you would see in Arlington County, probably just a lot smaller.
Thank you, Michael. That's really helpful. Also, another question came in. Everyone will listen hard to this because I think this is a great question. Any of the upcoming projects include the new economy, i.e. a dispensary, which will be legal soon? I'll let anyone weigh in who would like to. So it probably hasn't been thought about yet, but as laws change and legalities to always be looking, I will share with you all and everyone on here, CPRO has done actually an outstanding job of looking to open up the types of retail that may be available on Columbia Pike. And Kim will be able to share much more about that, but CPRO and Arlington Economic Development Group are connecting to present to the board of directors this fall about opening up ground floor commercial space to co-working, potentially breweries, services that now you have to go get special things from, because so much of our economy has moved from a retail economy to a service economy. So I think that is all helpful, and she can further go about that in the networking section. And I think that is it as much as the time that we have today. I encourage everyone who's interested to stay after on the in the networking section and be able to talk with these developers with follow-up questions. Kim, turn it back to you.
Thank you so much, David. And thank you so much, Bill and Eric and Stacy and Michael. You guys are truly bringing progress to the Pike. You're also trying to keep the spirit of the Pike, our diversity and our culture alive, and we greatly appreciate that. Just for time's sake, because we want to be sensitive to everyone's time, your time is valuable. We are running about 5 minutes behind. So if you can stay with us for the program until about 1:05, we would greatly appreciate it. As David mentioned, we will move into networking right after that. So if you did have any questions that weren't answered or the answers didn't come in the chat, you can do that during networking. So without further ado, this is one of the special parts of our program. It's all special, but as we have watched and participated in the community coming together, we became inspired. And we decided to establish the Columbia Pike Spirit Awards. Last year, we gave out 4 inaugural awards, and David was one of the winners. And this year, we will give out another 4 awards. We are incredibly fortunate, as David mentioned, to have Arlington Economic Development and BizLaunch as partners. This group is led by Tara Palacios, BizLaunch. It is a small but mighty team. And this year, they also, for the first time ever in Arlington, they stood up a small business grant program, and they also just recently stood up their program relaunch. But simultaneously, they have continued to support the Pike. They supported our Buy a Nurse Lunch program, and they were just at our ribbon cutting for I Smile last week. So now, it is now my great pleasure to officially introduce and congratulate Tara Palacios and the BizLaunch team. Tara, you want to say a few notes?
Yes, just a few words. I just want to thank you all on behalf of the BizLaunch team, Alex Held, Lourdes Morales, Prakriti, Deju, and Yakin. We're just so proud to work with you all and your team in doing good. Last year was tough. It was a really, really hard year for everybody involved, but I think what I really adore about the Arlington community is how we all come together and we work together and we try to help everyone that needs the help in order to survive and thrive. And so it's been a real honor to work with your team and to make that difference and to do good. You know, when there's so much mental health and, you know, we've all been home, we've been masking, now we're not masking, you know, life is starting to change a little bit. We're really looking forward to continuing to do this work. And it is such a pleasure and honor to work with you all in doing this work. So thank you. Thank you for this.
Thank you, Tara. Thank you so much. And thank you to your team. We could not literally have done it without you. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And next up, we are blessed to have ECDC on the Pike. Not only does ECDC continue to support small businesses locally, but they also support businesses, immigrants, and refugees in the US and worldwide. During COVID, they took their efforts even further by completing Axamite Village and standing up women-owned mask-making businesses, and also providing pop-up vaccination clinics. It is now my great pleasure to officially introduce and congratulate Dr. Tafara. Dr. Tafara, are you there?
I do not believe he was able to join us, or he was on earlier, but may not be. I know we have CPRO who may be still here, who could maybe speak for ECDC.
Fikri, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you so much, Kim and the rest of the team. Thank you again for the recognition and the award. I'm not so sure whether Dr. Tahayi has been informed in terms of the award and the communication during this meeting. I'm not so sure. I will check immediately after this meeting. But otherwise, to be honest with you, we are so much proud to be part of the Columbia Pike corridor development and contributing in our own way as much as possible, taking into account, like everybody is saying, taking into account the diversity and the richness of the neighborhood communities. Thank you so much again.
Thank you, Fikri, so much. And this is our picture with Dr. Tafara. So he does have the award. Ask him if you can actually see it. So thank you so much for your comments, and thank you for all the work that you are doing. Really appreciate it. And next up, Manoukian Brothers has a rich and diverse history in DC and also now on Columbia Pike. During quarantine, they realized that it wasn't just enough to tend to their clients' retail needs, but they also wanted to serve their local social needs as well. They were able to leverage the relationships and their many other talents, because they have many hats that they wear, and begin streaming live from the rug shop. This program has not only brought joy to the Pike and beyond, but it also has been supporting local artists throughout COVID. The rug shop will also be assisting us as we stream Blues Weekend coming up in June. So we thank Manoukian Brothers for that. And now it is my great pleasure to officially introduce and congratulate Donna and Michael. Are you guys still on?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, Michael.
Yeah. So thank you very much. It's just me, it's Michael. My mom is working, of course. I guess I'd like to say that resonate with what Tara said. Out of difficult situations come good things. We're a company that was started in 1922, probably the second oldest business on Columbia Pike besides BM Smith, I suppose, who was started 14 years before that. Of course, we moved here only about 3 years ago. We were started as a direct result of my grandfather and his 4 brothers fleeing the Armenian genocide and after World War II, or sorry, World War I. And they started the company in 1922. Until 2018, we were in DC, at which point we moved to Arlington after that. And we've lived and grown up here since the 60s. So Arlington's my home. The honor you've given us for the Spirit Awards is much appreciated. It probably comes mostly for the sake of our work with the Live from the Rug Shop efforts. And that's an community outreach efforts meant to alleviate some of the struggle and angst that I felt when I talked to our customers who last year were often locked in and didn't have ways to associate and you know, express themselves and have some entertainment. So it endeavored to reconnect artists with audience for the betterment of friends, family, and community. In the depths of the pandemic last year, when it was very stressful, I'd often talk to customers and I'd try to explain to them that we've had pandemics before, and I wasn't referencing the 1918 flu pandemic, but the 1957 and 1968 pandemics. So people don't remember those, but they were serious pandemics. And I was trying to tell them that we would get through it just like we've gotten through those. And many of our customers, like as I said, are 67 years old. So they had been through that. And I haven't actually even been through that. Lastly, I'd like to thank my mom, who was very active in the business, my father, who has recently more or less retired because of health issues. And the producing partner on the project is called Blue Land Media. They're actually in the 2300 9th Street building. They've been there for a few years. So they're a local business also, and they're instrumental in actually making the event happen, doing the video production. So I'd like to thank also the artists, many of whom are Arlington based. Next Tuesday night, we have Bobby Thompson. He's a blues singer songwriter. He went to Yorktown High School. I went to Yorktown High School. And I want to thank CPRO for the recognition. Arlington Economic Development and Cultural Affairs have given us a lot of support. And last but not least, as I said, we have concerts coming up Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. If you can join them, we would love to have you watch and spread the word. 7:30. You can find out the link on our website, manukianbrothers.com. There's a link to Rug Shop Concerts, or you can go onto Facebook and look up Rug Shop Concerts. And we'd love to have you watch and attend and support the show and support the artists, because we put their information as far as Venmo or PayPal up there, and all donations go directly to them. So we'd love that if you could help them. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you for continuing to do the great work that you do. And I was there yesterday, and now I want to go buy another rug. So thank you so much.
Sure.
All righty. And last up, but definitely not least, our PTAs off of Columbia Pike have always gone the extra mile to serve our students and our families. As APS closed their doors, APS PTAs and the community scrambled to really figure out the needs of the students and the families and to meet them. Randolph PTA has been a beacon. They have been a beacon of light. They quickly reached out to their local civic association and others to extensively expand their current pantry operations, as well as develop and provide other needed services. So it is my great pleasure to officially introduce and to congratulate Bethany Zecker-Sutton. Bethany, are you still with us?
I am. Thank you so much. So I'm delighted to accept this award on behalf of the Randolph PTA. That photo is, by the way, taken in my garage, which helps serve as a storage facility for our food pantry. You know, I will say that serving the community is one of the core values of the International Baccalaureate program at Randolph. And we really try to live that value every day in the work that we do to support the school. I had the opportunity just this morning to speak with the entire 5th grade class at Randolph as they embark upon their final IB projects for the year. And we had a conversation about taking action in your community, how you identify a need, and then how you mobilize people to help. Since the start of the pandemic, the Randolph PTA has operated our food pantry outside at the school on a weekly basis 55 times. We have distributed more than 7,600 bags of non-perishable groceries and countless other items, including fresh fruits and vegetables, masks, cleaning products, laundry detergent, toilet paper. That we have tried to be attentive to the diverse needs of our community. Did some special stuff during the month of Ramadan for our Muslim families. We've partnered with Hungry Catering, U.S. Food Rescue, local community and school gardens, several churches, other schools in Arlington who've supported us. We've worked very closely with the BARCROFT Elementary School and Hoffman Boston, both of which also sit on the Pike. We've consistently served an average of 150 families every week. Overall, probably seeing more than 200 on a regular basis. I will say that the good news is that the numbers are starting to trend downward. If I look at the past 6 weeks, it's been more like 125 to 130 families. So we are starting to feel some hope that our community is recovering. This, has obviously been an extraordinary amount of hard work on the part of the PTA and the leadership team. We absolutely could not have created such a sustainable effort without the Douglas Park neighborhood, which has just been tremendous in their support. We do all of this to make sure that people are okay and that kids are not hungry. But a huge silver lining also has been the extraordinary community engagement with this effort. And we've both been able to serve families in need and also provide people with the opportunity to help. So that's the spirit in which we do this work. And we are just absolutely thrilled to with this wonderful recognition from CPRO. So thank you.
Thank you, Bethany. And thanks to everyone who has helped you. And you, man, you are a beacon. Thank you. All right. I do apologize that we're a few minutes over. Again, I want to thank our sponsors, our gold sponsors, our silver sponsors, and our bronze sponsors. We could not do the programming that we do without your financial support. So thank you again. We greatly appreciate it. Just real quick, how to stay informed and engaged. You'll notice we are on social media, all the channels except for TikTok, maybe TikTok one day. And we do have some upcoming events, so please stay tuned. One of our big upcoming events is our celebration of 35 years. CPRO has been in business now for 35 years, supporting the community, the businesses, and we really want to celebrate in October. More to come, especially as COVID protocols change, but more to come. Please stay tuned. I think we're going to go ahead and close our annual Pike Progress Luncheon. We really hope that next year we will see you in person. Our goal for our 35th celebration is to be hybrid, indoor, outdoor, in person. So we will, as soon as we have more information, we will share that with you all. And we hope to see you soon. Take care and be safe, okay, everyone?